You are a man. You should do this.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
That's not.
Do you get?
What I'm trying to say is that they are not suited for nothing. They were just trained to do that. Finish.
The training is not the problem here.
You know what?
The training is now. Wait. Let me just round up this. The train to be like so.
Okay.
It's now when I said African parents are translated it wrongly. Do you get?
Do you get?
For you to tell a man that.
Hi there, welcome to the Just O'Clock, a podcast that's all about connecting you through stories, shared experiences, and a whole lot of amebo. Get your headphones on, grab a cup of your favorite drink. If it's your first time here, you're welcome. And for returning listeners, welcome back.
Now stay tuned for the juiciest gist you won't find anywhere. Let's begin.
This is the African Childhood Trauma episode, and you're welcome to the Just O'Clock podcast. My name is Jess, the host for the verse, and on this episode, I have Maya. He's a new person on this guest. Welcome, Maya.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you already know Tori, Victoria, the queen herself. Welcome back, my big madam. Welcome back now. Accept my greeting.
Thank you, Jesse. Hi, nice to meet you guys again. How are you doing?
Oh, they're fine. I'll answer for them. They're all doing well. But let's get into the episode already. So I know a lot of us. I'm assuming, Sha, because there's some people that their parents are not Nigerians. But I know a lot of
Wait,
us.
are you throwing shades on me?
I'm throwing shades at you because your parents are not.
Our parents are not Nigerian.
They are Nigerians, but they don't used to flog.
Oh.
They don't used to flog.
Our parents are not Nigerian.
Abi?
No.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it because her parents don't flog. They only talk, and their children used to hear words. Maybe they are not stubborn like me.
They're not Nigerians either.
Really?
They're not Nigerian children.
Right?
Yeah.
Because a normal Nigerian home, you must collect pay.
Lord.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Shade me on my podcast.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Shade me on my podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never told you my parents don't flog.
But do your parents flog you? Like, while growing up? Was that like a normal thing in the home?
Not a normal thing, but they did.
Once in a blue moon?
Occasionally.
Occasionally?
Mm-hmm.
Well... Maya?
I don't understand. What? Why?
I
What
don't understand what you mean by occasionally. It's a normal thing, like every weekday, every weekend, you collect cane for not washing the plates, for not sweeping the house,
for nothing. For nothing. It's a thing that has to be. It's something that it has to happen.
If it doesn't happen, the child will spoil.
That's not true. There are ways to talk to and correct it. You know what? Let's get into the.
I'm not even talking about. Actually, I'm not even talking about the idea that it is good or it is bad. But if you are a typical Nigerian from a typical Nigerian home, it is solid. You must collect. It's a weekly something. At least once a week.
Yeah, you must every. At
least once a weekend.
Like maybe Saturday when they are doing house chores.
When you don't have school and you just sit down.
You have to collect cane because if you don't collect in school, you will collect at home. But I guess you have a different experience, Victoria.
Well, I wouldn't say I didn't get beaten, but it was occasionally. There are ways to correct someone without beating them. And that was what my mother is. My dad, I don't think my dad, okay, maybe if my dad ever laid his hands on me, beating, flogging or whatever, it cannot be up to 4 times. Like
you can
today.
Count.
Yes.
Wow.
You can count.
So
on one finger that, I'll be on one hand.
One hand.
Yeah.
4 times. Your entire
I don't even think it was up to 4 times.
You lived with your parents, obviously.
Yes, no.
From a last born's POV, that is me. I was the one to say, oh, I collected the list. But even I cannot count.
I am the first child.
I collected. That's.
You see, I did say her parents were not Nigerians. I did say that.
You said that when mommy bought me a cat, so I don't even want to say.
Your mommy bought you a cat. Your African mother bought you a pet cat. I told you this.
It's official. They were not Nigerians.
See, a cat in my family house demands prayers and casting.
Like,
Yes, you need holy
what do you
water,
mean?
holy oil. If the priest can come to the house to bless, in fact, he will. So your mother, Jane, here and bought you a pet cat because you wanted it, Victoria.
Yes. I don't
Well,
understand. Why are you guys making a big deal out of this?
would you classify your parents typical African parents?
Yes, they're African.
Okay, you know what? Let's lay the facts to you guys
I'll
and you
leave.
decide. So Maya, what are the attributes of a typical African parent?
Okay, I wouldn't speak directly from experience because, like I said, I was the last born.
Yeah.
I am the last born, and but I have seen things happen. And if I would call or classify a typical African parent, first of all, the beating. The beating is solid,
How
right?
is that the
Even if
first
even if it's
attribute?
not,
I
even if
don't
it's
even
not,
understand. You're not even saying providing for the whole
listen, chill first.
kindness.
Even if
Beating.
it is not, even if it's not
Kindness.
general, like, oh, I am brutal, you must see blood. No, I don't know. I don't even encourage that for African parents on their own.
Yeah, true.
But you see this necessary factory reset, that slap, the one that they usually threaten, that they will threaten, your mom will threaten you with it for like 1 week before it actually
Mama
comes.
can't pay.
Maggie, akeba,
Do you get like
they will,
when they slap you, your ear will do. "Hmm."
yo, the day I collected that slap, it was not even. I told you I am the last born, so
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. She did not even give hints. She did not give me the warning that I will hear her give my siblings and all of that. I actually did something really stupid, but I was not considering that it will pass now. But this woman called me by the side. It was in her shop. She just called me by the side, by the corner that public people will not see. And I was excited. Actually, what happened was I saw this eyeglass.
Oh, she wanted
Yeah,
to give you
eyeglass. No, no, no. Me, I saw it on the floor. And then I was excited to show her and was like, oh, mommy, see what I found.
Mhm.
That time I was really little. Then she looked at me and said, where did you get this from? I said, I picked it from the floor. From where? Where that side? These guys that used to do welding. And then she did not say anything. She just called me to the side. And I was, GT. The next thing was, I stood. I looked at her. And for the first 3 seconds, I disowned her. Because I was wondering how. I was not, it was not something I was planned for. It was not something that I was even expecting. If anything, she would correct me. Because as the last born, and I only matter they used to talk to last born. But that was the first time she was ever slapping me. And actually, so even when I was older, I realized that was the necessary factory reset.
So you
Because
agreed slapping is necessary.
No, at that point, but thinking what I did and several other things,
Can I
before,
ask you something?
it was necessary.
If slapping you and saying, don't pick stuff from the roadside, return this because it does not belong to you, which one did you think you would have understood better at that point?
You see why I said you yourself, you're also not a typical African child.
Ewo.
You will never tell an African child, don't do this once, and they will not do it.
That is what they will do more.
What?
Yes.
You went to a private school,
Yes.
probably a foreign name.
Ewo.
It's definitely not Ifako High School.
Yo,
No, wait, hold on,
if you lived among your peers, right?
I lived among my peers. What are you guys talking
if
about?
you lived among the African children peers.
I lived among African children.
You did
You
not,
are from
apparently.
Obodo.
You guys owned the estate you lived in, let's put it like that. Because, if you lived among people that always come back with dust on their legs, nobody will teach you to be stubborn. Your parents will never teach you that level of stubbornness.
Sure.
So you cannot tell me, I just told you, don't touch. I just told my son not touch it again, and he never touched it again. See that fire wasting man of my hand.
No,
Until he
that's what
bomb me,
I did not say don't touch it. I said that children can understand reason. I said don't touch it because it does not belong to you. Return it.
But you do know
You don't pick up things that do not belong to you, and that's it.
But you do know that children's brains are like still developing. So their brain is not correct yet.
Okay, fine. Let me ask you something, right?
Okay.
Do one thing that my mom, like, I'm talking about now,
Yeah.
not like now that I'm in my 20s. There's this thing she tells fellow mothers, right? When it comes to beating children, she say, will that child understand the reason? Like if it's a bad thing the child did, right? Or you're telling the child, go and sit down one place, and you say, go and sit down one place, it's time to sleep. Will the child understand? Like, do they understand the meaning of those words? And the mother says yes or no, right? If they say yes, she'll say use words. If they say no, she'll say if you beat the child, they'll still not understand it. So why are you beating the child?
Okay. This is my take. First of all, before this whole thing began, sef, let me point out that I am not even in the line of beating children, right? Or physically violating them. But I'm only saying for you to compare or to place a typical African parent and a typical African child, you're talking about the characteristics of what classifies a typical African child and a typical African parent. If you're raised or if you're to even see in stories and movies and general conversations on the internet, you will hear when they will talk about, oh, I was stubborn when I was a child. I fought. I but if you are now in a setting, a different setting, still maybe African home, but we're not typical now. They will not follow those same. The child might not even be stubborn. The child might be reserved. The child might be this iPad kid itself, right? But if you're being yes, if you're going to put the word typical in it, you're going to now include what makes a typical African child.
Yeah.
And trust me, flogging reset or
Brain reset.
exactly flogging helps train a typical African child. Speaking will not work.
I disagree, but it's fine.
I wouldn't even call it flogging actually.
Yeah.
I would say violent authority.
Okay.
I still
The
disagree.
way you hear, oh, mommy is around. If the mom is there and the dad is there, the mom might even be the one to flog more than the dad, but the dad will have more fear.
Yes, ingrained in the child. Yeah.
And that's because it
What?
goes yes, it goes to intimidation. If you are to use come here, but flog the child, oh, but use come here, it might not work as come here, but you will not even touch the child. If the dad is coming and you know fathers are usually known to be nonchalant, to be disciplinary, to be go straight to the point. Why are you disturbing me? Why are you here? Go and meet your mother kind of vibe. So if they are used to such a scenario, I don't even think the beating will be necessary. But the violent authority, now I'm using the phrase violent authority to emphasize how it has to be typical of an African child. I'm not saying violent authority is a thing. But when the father is pose such an intimidation on the child, I think that's what actually works, or that's what the beating translates to,
So you're talking about fear as a means of control.
basically.
Does that seem like a normal human behavior?
It's a typical African behavior.
Ew. Okay.
It's not.
No, it should be. It should be.
Yeah,
Because obviously I went to school, I saw kids that were some people will come with bruises all over their skin. So yeah.
But
I get
also it's also prevalent in our schools. Like the teachers always have canes. In fact, when I was going to public school then, they'll tell us as you are resuming, you bring one cane for
Yeah,
the
that's
teacher.
true.
Yeah, you bring cane for the teacher. The cane that they'll still use and flog me. So I think it's prevalent in Africa itself, African homes, schools, even on the street, as far as the person know your mother. The ones that you are doing this, I'm going to report it to your mom. The fear of your mom is already brimming your heart for you to act right. So sometimes I don't think words work with African kids.
The reason why I said I disagree is that when I was growing up, right, it wasn't like I did not get beaten. I got beaten, but it was occasionally. But I felt like my mom explored different ways to train us.
Your mom
And
was
another
smart.
thing is that she owns a school, so she deals with kids, right?
Okay.
So there are different kids. Obviously, there are kids you shout at, there are kids you talk to gently, kids with different personalities. Okay, so she explored different ways, right? So she usually says that if you hit a child, if a child only feels like hitting or violence is the only way, if you feel like that's the only way to control the child, at some point that child will find that hitting familiar.
That's what makes it typical
Like
African child, actually.
like us here can get him,
Oh,
and they will go on to do
and
what they
go
want
on
to
to
do.
do what they
So my
want
mom
to do.
believes that just tell a child what's right and wrong. Let the child know why they should do right.
Do you think they are old enough to decide to do right?
That's why she does both reward things, rewards. She has this reward system. Like they're not. I don't. I will bring my mom to the podcast so that she will explain it
Bring
herself.
your
I
mom,
don't
Okay,
know
okay,
anything.
okay.
But I'm just saying, right? So she explored different ways. She used to beat us occasionally, as like you get as it when I was growing up. But right now in her school, her teachers don't beat kids.
Her teachers don't carry canes.
They don't beat kids, especially. And one thing she frowns at is beating children for failing exams or failing tests or those kind of things. In which someone, like, I remember one time she almost fired a teacher for giving one of the students cane to flog the whole classmate. It was a new teacher. So she was coming out of her class. She saw because the child got like 10/10 or something and started, yeah, she was so mad that day.
Is it the class captain?
No, no, it happens.
No,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So she has explored different ways. But the thing is that it's almost like we find beating the easy way out. That's one thing I feel about beating. We African parents don't beat us because they want to inculcate value into us. Like they do, right? But also I feel like beating is the easy way out. There are other ways in which you can train a child
Is it
without
the easy
touching
way
the
out
child.
or the effective way out?
It's the easy way out.
But it's effective.
Now,
I have friends that did not get touched till today, and they're the best people on earth.
now this is where I still bring back the idea of being typical. And to be fair, to be very fair, the idea that African parents had to normalize beating their children to become well enough for it to become an effective way is because it's because of illiteracy. And I'm not saying illiteracy on our own parents, illiteracy of their parents and the ones before them. The absence of your mom's ways, right, is what makes a typical African parent. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you are to say me, if I'm to become an African parent, I will not be typical. I will not do all of these things. I will not flog. I will not, give brutal punishment. I can be authoritative because normally that's I am so, not because I have to be. Yeah. But if like okay, let's put it like there are some. Have you seen movies where the person doesn't want to hurt this other person, but the person just has to maybe teach the person a lesson or
to
make
you better.
make the person do something that is needed to be done.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what it's called in psychology, but you have to hurt them for things to work. And this time around, our parents translate it as sometimes if you hear African parents say it is paining me that I have to beat you.
That's a lie.
Yeah,
So
I've
let's keep
heard
going.
no,
If
I've
you say
heard
that's a lie.
I've actually heard it that you always make me beat you, kind of, or the sentences like
Yes,
that.
yes. You're the one that is making me to beat you. You're the one like I'm at fault, but you're flogging me.
So it's more like they feel it's the way to go because that's the way they were also brought up, right? If anything is to change, then we will no longer have typical African parents.
Yeah, there'll be different people.
You understand? Yeah, and yes, I will not still agree to the violence, yeah, but their ways also work.
So the beating is necessary in a way.
To an extent, and in some cases, I don't at all fancy the idea of having to leave a mark before you make your point.
What if I say that I don't agree that it works?
Beating,
It doesn't. So let me say, I feel beating does is put children in fear.
Okay, let's give an instance.
are we talking about what?
He spoke about typical African child behavior. Now, some of the behaviors are stubbornness, laziness. As you go and wash plates, you will sit down there and maybe you're watching a cartoon or something. Bedwetting. I know a couple of people that they flogged the bedwetting out of their system.
Even studying.
Yeah, studying. If you fail in your exams, your parents will definitely flog you because I cannot be paying 100,000 and come back with F. I think that's all I can think of right now.
Okay, so let me give you every instance of what you said.
Yeah.
So let's start with the study part.
Yeah.
Like the flogging a child for failing an exam is just going to put fear inside the child's brain. I'm not a psychologist, but I read a lot, and I know that if you're studying for something with the fear, like an immense fear of failing, you either resort to cramming or you are going to start forgetting because you're no longer studying, you're no longer learning, you're just trying to beat a deadline, you're just trying to beat something. And talking about that, there's this thing that happened when my dad was growing up, right? He was in secondary school or something. So there was this guy that usually carries a class on their heads. Like that's what they call it.
Yeah,
so he was, I think my dad studied at Enugu Asata. So towards the day of the results calling, the woman goes to the child and said, if you fail, don't come back home. And the child jumped bridge.
During result calling.
Yeah.
No, that one is
That,
wrong.
that does not mean
that's
anything.
tragic.
Like what I'm
For it
trying
to be
to
effective,
say,
I think it would have been during study.
Or maybe like
That's
she
when
has
it
flogged
works.
the
you guys
child.
are missing the point.
Mm.
Okay, get
The
it.
point is that all you did was impose fear on the child.
I just want you to do better.
You can do rewards.
I
If you get which one do you think will work effectively? Beating a child for failing or saying if you pass, I'm going to get you a bicycle.
no, I think you are the one missing the point at this point because we're not talking about the dangers
No,
of
we're not
what it
talking
has
about
caused,
danger.
right?
You said it's effective, and I'm telling you that all it did was to impose fear on people.
This your narration and this your story about the woman that said during results calling. That is where it is very very unappreciated.
Yeah, true.
But
That's too much.
for that sentence, don't come home if you don't pass. Let's say the typical African way. It is not like say, oh, you are studying or you're supposed to be studying and you're not.
Yeah, and you're
And then I tell
playing.
you, don't come home if you don't take first. Right? That is how that's when the fear imposition works.
Yeah.
It's not when the death has happened and you're now like
So, how many times have you seen African parents, right? The typical African parents care about how to study. Or wait, studying methods, how to study. Actually, I'm not saying that parents do it, right? But I mean studying methods, looking at children's textbook, going over it. Most times, and I'm talking about someone who is in the school environment and who
True,
still
yeah.
is, they are only interested in the results.
The results.
They're only interested in the
enough fees,
results.
Yeah.
I don't see parents who check. Okay, even if the child is studying, who actually cross-check, like, what are you studying? There are a lot of problems that limit children from taking first in schools. There was this boy when before I gained admission, I taught briefly in my mom's school, and the boy, everybody has given up on this guy. I shared this story on my timeline one time that May was asking me if I mean D was asking me if I had the special whatever number. So this guy, whatever you did, he did not pass. And the auntie was living with did not even care. She was
Really
just interested
tissues.
in yes, she was just interested in that this boy was failing. So it was when the boy got
Sure.
transferred to my mom's school. My mom put him in the class of one of the most brilliant teachers that she had. So she was doing private lesson for the boy. The boy, when you teach him, when you guys read and everything, like he gets it. But immediately he goes down, he goes back home.
He forgets it.
Whatever when he has to do your assignment, looks at a book, reads. So after a while, I think after a month or so, my mom brought the boy to the office, gave him a book and said, read. So my mom found out that the boy is dyslexic. This boy has been to 6 different schools. Nobody found out that the boy was dyslexic. My mom did not know how to cope with people with dyslexia.
Yeah,
So she had to pay somebody. My point is there are different things that make children. There are children who are lazy. There are children who are not concentrate, like they cannot concentrate. Me, for instance, I did not start reading until I entered university and I still passed my exams, right? There are people, if I did not hear it, except I did not hear it, but as long as I heard it, you get. Now, there are children who do not have their attention span. There are children with ADHD. Yeah. There are children who are autistic. There are children who have dyslexia. But all these things, the parents do not care. All they care is that you did not take first position. And they will beat you. Beating does nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Beating will just make you, beating is what you are going to, if I'm a child that has reading problems or comprehension skills and my parents beat me, all I'm going to do is to cheat.
Now, yes.
I do not think I'm not learning anything. All I'm doing is cheating so that I can give you my first position.
Yes, because do you think the parents actually care? I mean, they are spending a lot of money on your education. Of course, you know how poor you must go to school and you must pass.
So do you want the child to know it or you want the child to bring home a good result? That's what I'm talking
so
about.
now this is it, because I've realized that you are right. In fact, should I say to a very great extent, you are right. And I've actually agreed with you from the start. In my head, though, not maybe verbally. but the thing is, like I said before, that the thing with typical African parents is that it is what worked for them.
Yes,
that
why
they
they
feel
were
will work for you.
Okay, yeah.
And this also goes to how they were just basically told, this is it. Do it this way. Don't ask why.
True.
I don't know if you've heard of the monkey stepladder theory.
Yeah, monkey.
Yeah, where there is a stepladder, there is a bunch of bananas. Each time there are four monkeys. Each time one tries to climb up the ladder to get a
Yeah,
bunch of
for
bananas, a downpour is on the rest of
yeah.
them. So they keep on. You know the theory. So that theory now is what translates to a typical African parent, where they don't know how to explain it. They don't know how to put it to words or practice the things that they have learned. So they rather teach you the way they were taught. Does this make sense?
So
And
how did it turn
in
out
as
for
much
them?
as yes, in as much as there's a variety of ways things can be done. They will only teach you what they know best. And it is now up to you as an adult, when you've gotten to your adult stage, to know what works for you.
To do better than your
Yes,
parents.
yes. So that's why most of the time you won't get to forgive your parents when you're an adult, not when you're even adolescent. You don't even forgive your parents when you are, say, 18 to 20.
That's when you hate them.
It even goes on to when you are already having your own children before you realize that these things that your parents did, yeah, you're doing them, you're repeating them. But maybe not in the same way, but you're using the same strategy. You know, this whole I have to do this for you to learn. Not because I want to, or not because there might not be other ways, but that's either the only way I know will work best, and that's what I feel will also work for you.
You know what? I think genuinely, I think that how do I say this so that I will not sound insensitive, right? A lot of African parents get it wrong, but I feel like people who hold on tight, especially millennials, right? Gen Zs and late millennials who are holding on tight to the strategies our parents use benefit from it, especially guys. That's what I think. Because if you benefit from something,
Why would
you
you
don't
want to stop
necessarily
it?
want to leave it alone.
Yeah, true. Because
The people who
because
are outspoken about our parents got it wrong, our parents got it wrong, oh my god, let's abandon what our parents are usually women. That's what I think.
the men are usually enabled in African homes. Maya, say the truth and let the devil
Wait
set
now,
the what
calm
did they
down
say? Say,
first.
let the truth set you free. Abi?
Okay, now this is my take. This is my take. In as much as yes, I'm a typical African male, right? No, 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 I'm not a typical African male. But in as much as I am an African male and I know
I'm
how
an
the
African woman.
system works,
What's wrong with
I
it?
would want to say the male entitlement or the patriarchy, yeah, the patriarchy has to an extent again, just like this typical parenting, has its own benefits. And I think their aim or what they were trying to do was to, gender roles,
Yeah,
but they
true.
were not doing it right.
Yeah, very.
Yes. If you are to say, like, say me now, if I'm to have a wife and you're now to assign who will do certain things, trust me, I will not be one to want to cook and still take care of the children or be pregnant and still be doing the stuff I'll be doing maybe in the kitchen or cleaning. I don't have the mental capacity for that. Now, this is not me saying I am a man or I'm an African man, I shouldn't do it. No. It is a matter of, am I capable of doing it?
Then don't have children.
You've seen there okay, there's this TikTok. No, chill. There's this TikTok that's
Then
been
don't
going
have
around where
children.
calm down now. There's this TikTok that's been going on where the girlfriend will give the boyfriend like a drawing, a simple drawing, maybe a fish, and give him a scissors and tell him to cut along the
Line.
yes, along the lines and also narrate his story. 90% of the time, the guy stops to talk. And if he's cutting, he's cutting. If he's talking, he will stop and then talk.
So you're saying men cannot
What?
multitask as much as women.
This is, if I'm to use the sentence, men cannot multitask, it's very cliche. And a lot of people say, we don't hear and finish, but what's your point? But I'm not putting it in this way for you to understand that, there's evidence to show that women are more fitted for this. Still, before you bite me, still, it doesn't seem, or I'm not saying men shouldn't be because they're single dads now.
Yeah.
They can learn it. Me personally, I'm an artist and I learned to draw while I do other things because I lived, where they say you're a child and you're living in your house, you cannot have correct mental state.
Yeah. Very true.
Yes, so you have to work in it, right? Especially the last one that is the one that washed the plate.
You will always watch.
So it's something that I had to learn. So I'll be secluding myself to say I can multitask, but I know how it is for men in general, not even typical African men. Their brain is not developed in such a way that they can multitask.
There is nothing in biology, there is nothing in XY chromosomes that stops you from multitasking.
Now that is where we argue with
No,
you and your ancestors.
no, I'm serious.
See,
Wait, hold on. Let me get my point across. There is absolutely nothing in XY chromosome or XXY because they're intersexable or XYY or whatever. Like I mean, generally masculine presenting people. There is nothing in biology that makes them fail at multitasking. All these things boils down to how you were trained.
I
All these
and you
things
to differ.
No, I'm
differ?
serious.
I was
If
going
you
to say
want
I
to
beg
differ,
to
you
differ,
pull
but now
pull
this
up
is
stats.
no.
Show me how
Hmm.
your chromosome determines
Lord.
whether you're multitasking
Oh,
or
God.
not. What is it? Wait, is it the spermatozoa that makes you
Calm.
multitask or not to multitast?
Calm.
There's nothing
Calm.
in our
Okay.
biology. All
Okay.
these things boils down to how you were trained. The reason why you don't multitask is because nobody taught you to multitask. My brothers multitask. The reason
Do you
why you
realize
don't
that?
multitask
Do
is
you
because
realize
nobody
that I
taught
said
you how to.
I did not say in
No,
this point I did
you
not even
said
say
men.
typical African male.
No.
I said
You're
men in
saying
general.
that exactly,
It
and
is-
I'm still saying
If
that
they are to say
because
an average
nobody
male,
taught them. Because nobody taught them.
No.
Ain't nothing in their pants that
do you
made
know?
them
Do you
not
know?
to
Do you know? Do you know
multitask.
what it means? Do you know what it means to say okay, this happens in this place, and then you go somewhere else, far away from your
They are
community,
men.
and you realize that it's the same thing.
They are men.
Listen. Okay, so what was that common among the two of them? How did
They
this one
were
know that?
not trained.
Oh, this certain people in
Wait,
Africa.
hold on. Wait,
the men are
you're
leaders.
shooting yourself in the leg. Do you know why? Because you said in the beginning of the podcast there is something. That means wherever you go, African parents. That is the character of African parents. Then when I said my parents did not do that, you said my parents are multiple African parents. So exactly there can be exceptions.
Now.
If someone is trained right.
No. This particular sentence, or this writing up I'm writing up now, is because I mentioned or I pointed out that it is a thing with men in general. I was trying to explain how the way African translates patriarchy, what they are trying to explain the gender roles the way it should be.
Okay.
Bringing the gender roles the way it should be is now me having to open the floor to not just typical African.
I don't believe in gender roles.
And that's because that's the point. Me too, I do not. Like I said, I can multitask. You feel
Close
me?
your mouth.
So if you say gender roles in African parents, I will not say I believe in it. But if you have to now come to who can do this better, or who is more suited for this,
there is nobody
that is
suited for
when
nothing.
this in quotes now gender roles.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
You don't get what I'm saying.
Hold on.
Chief.
Ceasefire. Wait. When I don't pass the topic I bring. I was talking
We're
about.
talking about male entitlement. Wait,
Is it like-
hold on.
I was not, the first I was not arguing. I was going to explain.
I was talking about what our parents did to us. Where did gender roles take an enter?
Okay, fine.
We're
Let's-
not called gender
Where
roles.
did men mental?
let's come back.
That called gender
We are
roles.
not calling
No,
them.
it was you that said because men are more favored. So I was breaking it down to these gender roles just because I wanted to emphasize how the typical Africans now are not translating or mistranslating how it should be or how it's normally.
But that
In
You
quotes
don't
is
really
designed
get what
to.
I'm saying.
is
You don't, I think we're saying the same thing.
No,
Chief,
there's a difference
no.
between how you were trained and how you were built. I'm not even going to say men are built this way because, like I said, men can learn to do otherwise.
So why are we not arguing?
That's the
literally
point. I was
what
not
said.
arguing with you.
Why are we arguing?
I was going to emphasize how they will say, typically men in general are more suited for this, but it doesn't mean they are limited to.
That's not.
Do you get?
What I'm trying to say is that they are not suited for nothing. They were just trained to do that. Finish.
The training is not the problem here.
You know what
The
it
training is now. Wait. Let me just round up this. The train to be like so is
Okay.
now when I said the African parents have translated it wrongly. Do you get?
Do you
For you to tell a man that you are a man, you should do this. That is what the African parents would do. And that's where it is wrong. For you to raise a man like that is where it is wrong.
Okay.
Right? So me now saying,
Sorry, my love.
a man can do
Let
this
me find
more
trouble.
than do this. Right? I was not even talking about
No, but the way you were going about it, it was as if
I
there
was
was something
talking about-
in men's DNA that made them.
I don't even know. Funny how I don't even know whether it's I don't want to start talking if it is the
I can
statistical
bet
nature
my
of it.
last account.
Calm
that it's
now.
nothing
Let
in
me
the
get to
DNA.
my point.
Don't best your
See what
life
you're
account.
doing. What you're
Please,
doing
we
right
want to
now,
end
Bab.
this episode. Thank you
I
so
think
much,
you're
guys.
hinging on a
End this
particular idea that you say,
What the heck
men,
is this?
you're only hinging on the idea that I am supporting men that are patriarchal. No, that's not my point.
No,
this is not
obviously
what
not.
I talked about
Obviously not.
how you give a man a simple diagram and you cut along it and see a story. Would you even search the internet and see a biological implication of it or how it resonates with your XY chromosome? It's it's not something that you have to look up on a or
Okay.
the women, the college biology that we all know. It's not something that you have to search statistics for. It's something that just is. Right? Just like how they will say, oh, Nigerian men like money. It doesn't mean Nigerian men like money, but it's set to a certain average standard. You get? So
We are saying the same thing.
that's my point.
Yes, you
That
are.
is my
That's why
point.
this episode.
So coming,
Thank you
what
so
I wanted
much,
to point
guys.
out is where
Have a
African
great
parents
day.
are now wrong. And wait, okay, fine. For the audience, now since we're no longer arguing, whoever wants to argue with their ancestors with me in their house, this is my point, right?
Wait,
To
chasing me.
to be a should I say an African male is good, but for it to be patriarchal or to give them entitlement, I will not agree. But in the case of this is how men work best and how women work best, that is fine. And I think that's what the idea of patriarchy was trying to explain, or that was the original idea before being typical Africans that we are. It translated to ownership. I am meant to do this because I'm a man. I am meant to do this, or she's meant to do this because she's a woman. So it is just a matter of I understand you, you understand me. Can this work best for you? It works best for me.
Case closed. Thank you so much, guys. Subscribe. They've already, in fact, all of you are gonna get.
You did not even let me do my final
Nobody's going to
speech.
say this.
You did not let me do my
You
final
don't get
speech.
to. See you guys next
Okay,
time.
Thank you so much.